Okay, 3-time All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler, Willie Anderson. When am I going to call you Hall of Famer, Willie Anderson? We're just going to dig right into it, Willie.
We hope soon. It's a long process, and being a finalist the last 3 years was been a great time going through that. But at the same time, it's also a hard time going through it. But I can't complain about it because there's so many guys that could be in this position more than I am, and to be that close the last 3 years is a good feeling. But at the same time, the wait is just a hard thing that a majority of guys have to do it. So I'm going through it and hope the best for it.
Do they give you an answer of why not?
No, it just gets down to once you become the 25 semifinalists, it breaks down to the 15, and that 15, your presenter, which is mine, is Jeff Hobson.
Okay.
Have to go into the room and present with you. And from that 15, each player has to get 80% of the vote. So it's a hard deal because guys are in there fighting for their guys. And I heard good things last time from some voters in the room that I was close last time. I think that the whole key is to get to that 7 and 8 range. I heard I was in the 7 and 8 range this year. So hopefully next year, never know though.
By the next time I see you, I feel like we'll be saying future Hall of Famer.
We hope so.
I mean, it's been 18 years since there's been a right tackle. We looked it up. Mm-hmm. Slater was the last one.
Been a minute.
What? Is there a weird bias against right tackles? What's going on?
I think it's changing now. I think it changed toward the end of my career. I think you see guys like Lane Johnson's over here, who's a Hall of Fame offensive lineman. I think in the 90s, 80s, and 90s, the perception of what Lawrence Taylor did on the left side, everyone threw all their best rushers over that side on the quarterback blind side. But by the end of the mid-90s to 2000s, teams were putting rushers everywhere. And I think the blind side now became defined as where the quarterback head was turned to. So if my head is turned to the left, my blind side is the right tackle. If the right tackle wasn't important, why does Strahan and Reggie White have all these damn sacks? If it wasn't important. So
Willie, it's well said.
You know what I mean? So I think now teams, the media sees it now that the rushers can come from anywhere, and both tackles are now just as important.
What would it mean to you to be that first right tackle in the Hall of Fame in 18 years?
It means a lot because a lot of guys are betting on it. Like Lane Johnson is waiting. He tells them that every year.
Do you guys talk about it?
All the time. I trained Lane a couple times down in Oklahoma, and we talk a lot on social media. And he's hoping every year, when the list comes out every year, Lane's the first one to post Willie Anderson on the comment list. So he's definitely cheering for it. Guys like Mitch Schwartz, a lot of great right tackles that I think the media had a bias because they just didn't understand the importance of the guys we blocked over there were some of the best rushers of all time. And the whole blindside thing got taken out because of the movie, and it just got pushed. The right side guys got pushed away.
You think the Blindside movie
absolutely
had an effect on your Hall of Fame bid?
Absolutely. These kids here now, you got some kids who are 18, 19 years old that would tell you, because I train kids out of my academy in Atlanta, I only want to play left tackle. And I say, well, go look at what Penei Sewell's contract was for the Detroit Lions this year. That was $100 million contract. So the kids and their parents, because of the media push of the blindside left tackle, is a huge deal. But they don't realize guards are getting paid crazy money right now. So it's definitely changed for the better, I think, because all the linemen, they're coming from everywhere now, these rushers. Right side, right guard, left guard, over the center, everywhere.
You helped Corey Dillon break 2 NFL rushing records, Jim Brown's rookie single-game rushing record and Walter Payton's single-game rushing record of 275 yards.
I think Corey Dillon, people get mad when I say this, they say I'm biased, but I say all the time on social media, if you give Corey Dillon a passing game, just a solid passing game, he breaks more records than that. I mean, the guy there were games, I have film to show people on social media, there were games he faced 10 guys in the box because no one was scared of our passing game. So Corey didn't get a chance to play with Carson Palmer. You know what I mean? They had a passing game that we had later on in my career. You know, he was our offense for years, and he faced it with no passing game. That game against Broncos, we had 35-yard passing, I think, the entire game. And he broke the NFL rushing record on 22 carries. His first 8 carries were for losses. So imagine if he had today's spread offense with a great quarterback, and we saw what he can do versus with Tom Brady. He had 1,600 yards, went to the Super Bowl.
Easy.
So I think Corey Dillon is definitely a Hall of Fame running back. It's sad he's not mentioned amongst the greats.
And underrated, yeah.
He's definitely underrated. Underrated.
Cincinnati's going to love to hear that from you. What did you take more pride in? Opening those lanes for Corey Dillon and company or protecting your quarterback?
That's a great question. It changed. Like in the mid-'90s, the league was a running league, so everyone took pride in getting 1,300-yard rusher, 1,400-yard rusher. That was the pride thing to be as an offensive lineman. But, once we signed Carson to that $100 million contract, the whole objective changed. Protect Carson at all costs. And I think that the league changed. You started seeing rushers that were dynamic. I mean, the first time I saw a rusher who was 6'1" running a 4.5 40 was Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis. And I tell Rob all the time, Rob hit a move on me that I had never seen in my 10 years of football, because all the guys I faced were 6'5", just monster guys. And him and Freeney just running past guys and dipping and spinning. So your running back getting tackled, getting hit, yeah, it makes you feel bad, but your quarterback gets destroyed, it tears down your whole franchise.
Yeah.
So protecting the quarterback was definitely, at the end of my career, definitely a bigger thing than the running game.
Willie, who do you miss going out there and battling on defense?
Against? I missed with my guys. My linemen, I have some really good linemen, some great offensive line guys that helped me out throughout my career.
No, but I'm talking like on defense. Which battle would you love to get a shot at?
Anything in the AFC North.
Nobody specifically?
Players? Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a guy that folks may not know, Aaron Smith.
Okay.
For the Pittsburgh Steelers. Aaron's an underrated D lineman. He played in the Pittsburgh 3-4 defense. He didn't get a bunch of sacks, but he was, as any Pittsburgh Steeler, Mike Tomlin said this a couple years ago too, Aaron was the key to the whole defense. And Aaron was an underrated defensive end. He was a run gap first guy. He and I had some battles. And after the game, he and I would both tell each other, hey, man, when it comes to Pro Bowl voting, I'm going to vote for you. Because we both were underrated guys, early on in our careers. And Aaron was a huge cog for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But he didn't get the national recognition because the spot he played didn't get sacks. It was a run-oriented defense, and he stopped the run. And I couldn't move Aaron to save my life sometimes, what I mean? And it was a battle. My last game against him I was playing for the Ravens, the championship game, the Ravens for the Steelers in 2008. It was just a battle, just an unbelievable battle that we had. Aaron Smith. So.
Why is it important for you to be here today? When I asked you who you miss, you said offensive linemen. There's a sense of community, the brotherhood, all of that.
Definitely.
But you're going to get worked here today.
Yes,
You've got hundreds of offensive linemen of all ages and pedigree who are going to be – I'm scared to leave. You're going to have a line to you asking you a million questions. Why do this? Why do you want to do this?
I've been doing the last 6-7 years with my academy, the Willie Anderson Lineman Academy out of Atlanta. And I came here 2 years ago with Duke. Duke and I started together on the Nike circuit, doing the Nike high school camp circuits. And we actually talked about this idea 5 years ago. And he and Lane came up with it and did a great job with it. So the community of O-linemen and coaches it's a small community, a tight-knit community. And usually most clinics are coaches ran clinics.
Okay.
This clinic is ran by players. And from the player's perspective, and I think a lot of times as a player, this position is the only position that gets kind of overlooked. When you play the game as a player, sometimes the view is that you can only play it and can't coach it. Like every other position can do it. Quarterbacks can be quarterback coaches. You see very few great offensive linemen go into the coaching world because sometimes perceived that, he only was a great player. But this clinic right here gives the players a chance to have a voice of their problems, their issues, that sometimes, coaches can't give. And sometimes coaches can give you directions, but coming from former players who are, these current guys are going through it right now. He and Lane Johnson talked to the guys over here just minutes ago. It's a great deal, man. It's a whole big deal.
You and Lane are clearly very close. I find Lane to be, in 2024, one of the most fascinating players because he's in this part of his career, and now he's playing without two really important pieces that were really important to him personally as a man, and Jason Kelsey and Fletch. And he's still got BG there, and I understand that. But after what happened last year with the wheels coming off and things just not clicking, with where he is in his career, I feel like his role is going to evolve this year. I think he's going to step up as a bit more of a vocal leader. What advice are you giving Lane as he approaches this 2024 season with the changes?
Well, I think Lane's been there already. Like I know Kelsey was a clear-cut leader of that offensive line, but I think because of the limelight and how good Kelsey was, folks didn't realize that Lane's been doing these things with young players for the past 5-6 years. I mean, guys call him all the time.
Like this, OL Masterminds.
Yes, he can't. This is his idea. So his role now, this kind of stuff right here only helps his role with his team because every great offensive lineman becomes an old offensive lineman. You know what I mean? And hopefully your team keeps you there for the long run to let you be a part of the transition and the changeover, so he can come in and help. You know, in Lane's mind, he still has 4 or 5 years left to play football.
100%. And he does.
Definitely, he's in great shape. I mean, he's in great shape.
He's the best.
Great shape. So I think in his mind, he still wants to play at a high level, but at the same time, he's going to be the older guy, the older dad on the line. That's going to be the guy, the go-to guy for those NFC East battles that the young guys going to turn to for inspiration. I think he's already up to it already.
Love that. How many offensive linemen would it take to lift this car?
A lot.
How many?
15.
15?
To lift it?
To lift.
That guy's not Superman now.
Really? Quarterbacks think you guys are Superman. And there's a quarterback who I love named Joe Burrow.
Of course. We all love.
And he needs to stay healthy.
Yes.
How are we going to do that? They lose DJ Reader. Big loss.
Big loss.
They bring in Trent. Reshuffle in that right side.
Big game.
What do we make of it?
I think O-line coach Frank Pollard's been doing a great job, in my opinion, the last couple of years. I think people sometimes look at sacks and don't look at sometimes they're quarterback fault, sometimes they're lineman fault. I saw a line last year gelling for the first time at certain instances, and I think this year with your entire left side coming back, your right tackle, your right guard coming back, center coming back, and add Trent Brown there with a young kid behind him, I think it'll be the best line they've ever had.
Why wasn't it gelling last year?
Willie,
let her rip. I need to know.
So one of these guys don't play preseason games anymore. You know, not my son like the old guy. My time, I hated preseason games, and our coaches forced us to play the whole freaking games. You know what I mean? So not playing games early on, I don't get it. I wish they'll play some, but I do understand the risk factor. I think sometimes as a lineman, your timing and rhythm with your quarterback, where he's going to sit up at, if he's not in the lineup, you're not playing with him the whole time, that stuff hurts. And, I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and they're wondering right now if Kirk Cousins is going to be ready to play preseason games because, these teams who don't play these guys early on struggle during the season. Now, sometimes it don't. I think for the Bengals need to play those guys early on to get that rhythm. And to get Joe in the rhythm.
So you'd say the reason it wasn't quite what it needed to be is lack of reps, just
lack of reps with Joe. Joe wasn't playing, in the preseason that much at all, and some of the linemen didn't play at all. Yeah. And their first live action was the first game of the season.
This is Burrow's 5th different starting tackle.
Wow.
On the right side in as many years. Do you think that we as a media group, as just football people, underreact to how important consistency is at that position?
I think so too, because everything is quarterback related. I mean, the quarterback drives everything, and I think sometimes people there were games last year that I thought the line played solid. And if you watch social media, the line's terrible. And we as players know, and we watch film and see, and sometimes Joe being Joe, the great players hold the ball sometimes. And you know what I mean? And sometimes he may miss a blitz sometimes. And Joe will tell you that. You know what I mean? So everything's not as bad as O-line as it be, but it can be a lot better.
Y'all get blamed for everything. It's the problem.
Everything, but no credit when I told reporters
when I played. Only when something's wrong that you guys get talked about. I love that.
When you win, the scrum pass by your locker. When you lose,
yes.
They come
right to you. Yeah, that's the life of an offensive lineman. You have so much wisdom to give. Thanks for sharing some time. But there's about 600 people who want to talk to you, so I will let you go. Future Hall of Famer Willie Anderson.
Who dey?